Hello, folks. I'm working on more stories of. I'm looking forward to getting out of this Washington part and moving on to something else. Maybe a flashback with some commando type stuff. I'd prefer. Let's see, what did we do with this ditching hands? We hit the major population centers. Halzek said. The casualties be enormous, even if they have evacuated many areas. We'll kill the soldiers, medical response people, anything in our path. Well, that'll be quite a scene. Ezek replied. My job is to guard you people, so that can happen. We can take care of ourselves. But backup is always appreciated, Ezek said merrily. Still plenty of jade. Right, Ezek muttered. Ezek just stood on duty. Discarded the chemical weapons team that they got in position to strike the five major regions, major parts of the city, from close to the center. The center got a chemical warhead is two, naturally, since those areas had been mostly retaken by Zetan infantry. The few Jade gunmen still alive in those areas would probably understand. Many of the Zetan troops were already in full NBC gear, so they, including protective suits. Protective suits people, picture the suits from Outbreak. I mean, the ones the military was wearing. They're not the baggier ones that the scientists were wearing. Those are, that's for civilians and doctors. I think it's a bit more protective, because those soldier suits, I think they sacrifice, like, some protection for mobility, because their soldiers are still supposed to fight in it, and be able to fight even in all that heavy gas masks and gear and stuff. Yeah. That's how they were planning to fight World War III, by the way. The nukes smash into Western and Eastern Europe, and then the NBC-equipped troops, they just storm in and fight. I'm sure that would have been a whole nother level of hell. Where was I? Oh, yes. Including protective suits. So they were somewhat safe from the ditcha. The civilians, mostly en masse, were not safe and died in droves after exposure. Within seconds of exposure. The first warhead caused 20,000 civilian casualties. The second caused 3,000, and from there on, diminishing. The losses diminished, with the last of the 10 warheads producing less than 700 casualties. Ditcha didn't maim or cripple its victims. It was invariably lethal. There was no antidote. No antidote to exposure. No point to one, since death came so quickly. Military casualties, ditcha, exposure, numbered 500 in total, including people who sacrificed their lives giving mass to civilians, particularly children. Ezekiel was justice in a way. In a way. No, not in a way. This is justice. Of course, the murder of women and children is justice. Why would you think otherwise? Just for the atomic bombing of Dalada, we saw 100,000 Jade citizens die horribly, turn to ashes. But for the use of ditcha gas and terrorist attacks that kept ditcha and gas, it seems like a nerve agent is something that you should capitalize just because of how horrible it is. Like the Holocaust, people usually capitalize the Holocaust, I think. And unless they're talking about nuclear holocaust, which I think actually might predate that other term for the Holocaust. I'm not sure. The Holocaust is in what happened to the Jews and other people in the camps. Let's see. There was some term for the Holocaust against the Romani people, but I think there was a controversy because it wasn't a term coined by the Romas themselves. So, yeah, there's that too. There was that too. I think it began with an H too, but I'm not sure. Recent years. Terrorist attacks by the Allied underground resistance in Europe during the Jade occupation. Some of those great attacks had killed hundreds of thousands of Jade troops. In the Jade occupation, and the Jade government never looked at it as a legitimate act of war, but as a war crime, and actually promised to bring those terrorists to justice. Because after they won the war, the modern Jade government was mum on the issue, never condemning it, which Isaac took as another sign of their pathetic weakness and illegitimacy. See, as the representative of the Jade people, seeing those chemical warheads hit enemy positions, spew forth that great green gas that made Isaac feel like he was the most legitimate embodiment of the Jade people, where he was fighting for them, unlike those dopes in suits in Dalada, in the rebuilt Dalada. Breathtaking, Isaac said, unironically. Like, after the third warhead had hit its target. If we only kill 1 million, I will be disappointed, Hozek noted. And Hozek knew they'd kill far less than 1 million with these strikes. Most likely, it would be 10,000 or so, at most. I think this is the bloodiest scene I've ever written, even though all the deaths occurred off screen. Let's see. Elsewhere, the Jade terrorists were acquiring weaponry that would make even this chemical weapon assault seem tame and irrelevant. Elsewhere, 4:44, 3 p.m. Is that right? We shall fight for a bear tomorrow. City kilometers south. No, not south. West of. Delicious blood. Let's see, west of Libertyburg. Another laid the, what do I call it? Snowfield? Snow? I didn't call it. I didn't name it. I mean, I usually don't name a place until I actually have characters there at the location, so yeah, maybe I'll add the name retroactively as I've done sometimes. Now, where's the name of this place? I put it up here somewhere. Yes, Frost Oak. I need the Frost Oak Nuclear Storage Facility. Officially, which on paper was a research facility. The Frost Research Facility. Officially, it didn't even involve nuclear material, nuclear research. The chief of the facility was Zenda Edelman, the chief engineer and chief of one of the top nuclear scientists in the country. Part Arkness, part Zeith. Her parents fled to the USA to escape the Kaiser's imperial genocide during the Great War. They found anti-Zeith settlements in their new home, but in their adopted homeland. Is that the right term? Adopted homeland? I think I heard that term used. Homeland. That's usually the term used by refugees, I think. Let's see, they found anti-Zeith feelings, but next to the... Man, I got dust all over my beautiful creatures over here. I have like a totem by my desk, a source of spiritual energy in the form of a figure I made myself. She's quite glamorous and gorgeous. She's not naked though, in case that's what you're thinking. I can't have a naked woman sitting on my desk. That'd be a bit distracting, wouldn't it? Yep, I'd say so. Let's see. Adapted homeland, but compared to the way things were back home, it was a million times better. A million times better. Kazenda rose, grew up, became a scientist, working for the government. As a scientist, she found government work and was part of the research team behind the first Zetan atomic bomb, though she was not chief. She was not the chief. Beat to the atomic bomb. Aztec. Partzite. She was not the chief. In 0057, things had... In 0057, Kazenda was mostly working. Mostly supervising new researchers. And trying to get herself a higher position. She wanted to be the chief of all special projects in the U.S. military government. She wanted to be dominion over more than atomic research. She was interested in canceling 0057. Kazenda had mostly retired from lab work and was an administrator. No, that's not right either. Kazenda left most of the administrative work to her subordinates, subordinates. But when the facility came under attack as part of the Jade terrorist incident attack of 0057, she took charge. Left most of the administrative work to her bureaucratic allies. When the terrorist attack, when the facility came under attack by a team of Jade golems, she put herself at the center of things. Kazenda discovered that, unfortunately, she was not great in a crisis. What's going on here? Yeah. Kazenda demanded of her chief of security, Carlos Koenig, who was also chief of the Janos Manning, who was handling the response to the Jade attack. Or engaging hostile forces, mostly golems, Daniels replied. We haven't encountered much in the way enemy infantry on the ground, but they're likely present. Play the golems, which way our golem teams. You said smash them. and get us friendly forces. Forces from the nearby military bases. Gazenda ordered. There were 2 military bases nearby, both within 10 minutes of the facility. They've been alerted and are en route, Janos replied. Gazenda took a seat. He was glad that her Arcus attire and mask obscured how uneasy she was. For all they knew, the people around her knew, she was as calm as a cucumber. She felt cold and slimy, like a pickle. She wondered if they'd soon be able to see all her sweat coming out on her clothes. Well, she was sweating more than a feverish person. In her fever. A man with a fever in the middle of the desert. Great desert. I want to get them out of here. Force them to retreat. Gazenda muttered. Gazenda was not of a military mind, but she heard that when the enemy retreated, was a good thing. Janos was a military man before he became her security chief, and so he probably knew, probably understood tactics better than her. Not that much better. Wasn't like he was a general. Damn general in the war. He was only a lieutenant. There were what? 1 million of them? And was that an army alone? Gazenda didn't like feeling or looking weak before Janos. He had belittled him plenty of times through the years. Belittle, is that the right word? Yeah. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna end here, folks. See you later. Bye-bye.